Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking Toronto Raptors today for you guys. I feel like they got something up their sleeve. They got something in their back pocket, and I will tell you what that is. Mr. Thaddeus Young. It doesn't stop at Thaddeus Young, though. Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. Here's the thing about Toronto. They're not old at all. Like, they are not old at all. They have a couple of players with playoff experience. They got a couple of players with championship experience. But for the most part, this is an extremely young, extremely raw, extremely inexperienced team in the playoffs. I'm looking at guys like, obviously, Scotty Barnes. Gary Trent hasn't had much run. Precious Achiuwa. Chris Boucher. Like, there's just a bunch of dudes who, you know, even if they've been to the playoffs and played in the playoffs, maybe they didn't have as big of a role as they are going to for Toronto this season. So I have a couple of quotes. I don't think this is from the article, but I want to give credit where credit is due. All the quotes, we're going to draw 3 quotes here. One's from Thaddeus, one's from Siakam. Actually, 2 quotes. It's from thestar.com, and I want to say the dude's name because I've had issues with this in the past. Doug Smith. All right, this article is from Doug Smith. Welcome back to the channel, though. If you guys enjoy it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Post Raptors content pretty much every single day. Raps Nation, let's try and get 150 likes on today's video. There was some stuff in this article that there were some quotes from the Raptors players that I really thought was awesome. And it really made me realize how critical the acquisition of a player like Thaddeus Young was, or how critical just having a guy like Siakam, just having a guy like Freddie on your roster, how critical that is going to be. Now, before we get into it, you guys know my thoughts. I think Toronto's going to win in 6. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be scrappy. There are going to be wins where you're like, oh my goodness. There are going to be losses where you're like, oh my goodness. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Philadelphia is pissed off. All right, Philadelphia is pissed off. Their fans are pissed off. The personnel is pissed off. Some of the players, Joel Embiid, they're pissed off from when the Toronto Raptors just made them all cry, specifically Joel Embiid, and sent them home, albeit I guess they're kind of already home, but you get the point. We have a quote here from Thaddeus Young, and I'm hoping people start to come around on, people are, you know what, scrap that. People are coming around on Thaddeus Young. When the trade first went down, Raptors fans, it's not like they were like, because you guys know I live here in Chicago, I'm a Bulls fan. It's not like Raptors fans were like, oh no, what is Masai doing? Why did we give up a first round pick for Thaddeus Young? It was more so like, I wonder what Masai is doing. Giving up a first round draft pick for Thaddeus Young, it doesn't make too much sense, but hell, we're going to trust the process. And, from then on, every day was a lot easier when you're, thinking like, oh yeah, Thaddeus Young, not only can he still play, but he's just going to be valuable in stats that you just can't count. And it's stats like this. So Thaddeus Young, 15-year NBA veteran, 52, this will be his 52nd playoff game, which, by the way, I will be live on Saturday night for the game 1 of the series. I hope you guys all tune in. But anyways, we have this tweet here, or this quote here. My advice to them is just through all the madness, all the crazy stuff that's going on throughout the course of the game, all the adversity that you're going to fight, just manage to stay level-headed and stay poised. Never get too high, never get too low. Always try to be at even keel. So that's why I think the acquisition of Thaddeus Young was so big. And it's not just the playoffs. I think it's just becoming more, maybe a little bit more obvious. It's just plays more of a role once you actually get to the playoffs. I was a pretty big fan of the Thaddeus Young trade. Obviously, it's never ideal to give up a first-round draft pick, but judging the home run hit with Scotty Barnes last season, it seems more so like Toronto is trying to keep their core together of guys like Siakam, guys like Freddie, and win a championship, but also dominate the future, but you want to win a championship. And with the acquisition, the drafting of Scotty Barnes, it's actually like, oh my God, like, if you really boil down into it, the Toronto Raptors could make the NBA Finals. Let's be real here. First off, I know, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'll keep it quick, but you take down Philadelphia, that'll be tough. Then you got Miami, most likely, and, who knows what's next. Basically, it's just 3 series. You get what I'm saying. If you're in the playoffs, you have a chance. So getting a guy like Thaddeus Young, a dude who has been in this situation plenty of times, is huge, man. And it's been huge since they acquired him at the trade deadline, I would imagine, just as far as like mentoring goes. Learning by example, leading by example. You know Thaddeus Young is a pro at both of those two. You know these young cats. You know guys like Precious, especially Kem Birch. Guys, I guess Kem's not that young, but you get what I'm saying. Especially guys with similar positions as him, Chris Boucher. Like, they are learning from example from a leader like Thaddeus Young. But we also have two guys named Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet who won a damn championship. And we have a quote here from Siakam. We have the experience and we know what the playoff is, but every playoff is different. We're going to try to use that experience as much as we can, but we don't know what to expect. Things are going to be different. So that kind of gets me back to, 2019. Even though you're playing the same team, it's different personnel. It's just going to be a different series, right? It's Philadelphia versus Toronto. It's not going to be just like what it was last game. But what I really like with Siakam's quote and with Thaddeus' quote is that, like, if you go back to round one, Raptors versus Sixers, that series was just unreal. Like, I can't even imagine making content during that playoff series specifically, let alone the championship run. That would be unreal to cover, absolutely unreal to cover. But I can't imagine the ups and downs that the players, the players, the coaches, the fans especially, like watching that series. You're down 2-1, Siakam's hurt, somehow they win game 4, and the rest is history, right? Kawhi Leonard, it was crazy. And so I think having those three specific guys, Fred, Siakam, and Thad, I think it's going to do wonders. As far as preparation goes, as far as in-game goes, as far as post-game goes, as far as post-game adjustments, then obviously we can't forget about Nick Nurse. I mean, Nick Nurse is what keeps the engine running. This guy is a genius. He knows what he's doing. He came up with the positionless basketball. He loves all these 6'9" wingspan guys, and it makes sense. I really don't have much worry at all for the Toronto Raptors. Outside of slow starts, I know they're capable of making a run and at the very least winning a basketball game against the Philadelphia 76ers in the playoffs. You know what you're going to get with Harden and Embiid. You know you're going to get a ton of pick and rolls. You know Embiid's going to try and dominate down below in the paint. You know Harden's going to do his thing. You know Tobias is a threat. You know Maxi's a threat. You know Matisse can guard. But it's all going to be like, preparation is great and all, but you can't prepare for the unexpected. And who knows how this series is going to go. But as far as having those three leaders on the court, having guys like Gary, having guys like Scotty, having guys like Precious, there is no doubt in my mind that those guys are scared. There's no doubt in my mind that those guys are up for the opportunity and they're not scared of the situation, the pressure, the playoffs, Philadelphia, at all. Like, there is no fear at all, if I had to guess. So, man, this is going to be an awesome series, and this is going to be an awesome game one, and I hope to see you guys all at the stream. But if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, hit that sub button. I covered the Raptors all season, going to cover them all playoffs and all of next season and beyond. So appreciate all the love, Rap Nation. Wouldn't know where I would be without you guys. And shit, dude, I'll see y'all tomorrow, but man, I'm pumped.